I don't know why it's not showing up there when it should be, but it's not. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Today, I'm going to give a rehash of yesterday's live session that was kind of destroyed by poor sound quality. It wasn't our typical quality, so I want to actually give this talk because I want to make sure that everyone is able to get maximum benefit and be able to understand and hear clearly and see clearly, to be able to comprehend the information that's being given from this talk. This is very, very vital information, and I want to make sure that everyone is able to benefit from it. That what we're sharing, or at least everyone who cares to benefit from it, is able to benefit from what we're sharing. So give it another minute. I want you to share this with someone who owns a home care agency, because what I'm about to break down is relevant right now. Right now, it's relevant. So I want to make sure you benefit it. And anyone who does own a home care agency is able to benefit as well. So let's give it a minute. Now, today is Tuesday, March 17th. We originally gave this talk on Monday, March 16th. But I want to talk to you about what's happening right now. Not eventually, not theoretically, right now, today. We're in day 17 of the U.S.-Israel war with Iran. Oil is above $100 a barrel. And gas prices are up more than 20% in the last 2 weeks. The Strait of Hormuz, which carries 20% of the world's oil supply, is effectively closed. Now, Medicaid funding for home care agency is still being restructured from last year's $1 trillion cuts. AI tools are reshaping what this industry looks like faster than most home care agencies can track. And somewhere inside all of that, there's you trying to run a home care agency, serve families, keep caregivers, make payroll. That is a lot. And I want to be very clear with you today. I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to give you a doom report. This is not what that's about. I'm here because you deserve straight talk from someone who's in the industry with you, somebody who's in the thick of it with you, somebody who's in the trenches with you. And someone who has been studying every one of these forces and what they actually mean for your specific business. So for the next 30 minutes or so, if you have a home care agency, if you're building one, or if you're thinking about it, I want you to stay locked in, because what I'm about to share could be the most important business conversation you have this week. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sean Smith, Mr. Smith, AKA Professor Home Care. I'm the owner of A Touch of Love Home Care in Connecticut. I'm the host of the Aging Wealthily podcast, or the co-host, and the co-founder of the Home Care 7-Figure Blueprint community. And today we need to talk. Just as soon as I get a sip. Now, here's what I want to reframe before we get into the specifics. Every major disruption in history filtered the weak from the strong. Not the biggest, not the most funded, but the most adaptive. Think about the COVID pandemic. It filtered out home care agencies that had no systems, no communication protocols, and no backup plans. The ones with systems survived. Many of them grew. Now, what's happening right now is a filter. The Iran war, Medicaid restructuring, AI, immigration enforcement. These are not random events, though you may believe. They are pressure tests. And here's what I know about every person watching this broadcast. You got into home care because you care about people. You built a business around serving families at their most vulnerable time. That doesn't change because oil went up above $100 a barrel. But your strategy has to adapt. Your costs are changing. Your client family's financial situations are changing. Your caregiver workforce is being reshaped right now in real time. The agencies that come out of 2026 stronger will not be the ones who panicked, pivoted randomly, or went dark and waited for calm. They'll be the ones who understood what was happening right now. Not just understood it, but they took it and made smart, intentional moves while everyone else was frozen. That's what today is about. So let's break it down. 3 forces, real impacts, clear moves. Now, force number 1 is the Iran war. But what does it mean? What does that mean for you? What does it really mean? So today, March 17th, we're in day 18 of the war. On February 28th, the U.S. and Israel launched strikes on Iran, targeting nuclear sites and military infrastructure. Iran has responded as of yesterday with 500 plus ballistic missiles. That number's up. And 2,000 plus drone strikes since the war began. Now, oil prices are at over $100 a barrel. That's up from $67 before the war started. The Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's oil flows right through the Strait of Hormuz. That has effectively been shut down. So now the world cut off from 20% of its oil supply. Now, U.S. gas prices have risen over 20% in 2 weeks. The national average hit $3.58 a gallon as of March 14th. At least 2,200 people have died across the conflict zone. That's a CNN tally as of March 16th. Brent crude now trading at nearly $106 a barrel. Goldman Sachs projects it could average $98 to $110 for the month of March and April. The conflict is on day 18 with no ceasefire. Israel military says it's planning at least 3 more weeks of strikes. Let's talk about impact number 1, how it impacts your operating costs. Your operating costs just went up. Here's what most home care agency owners are not thinking about. Gas prices don't just affect what you pay at the pump. No, they affect what your caregivers pay to get to clients. Now, in Connecticut and across the Northeast, caregivers who are driving to multiple client visits every day are suddenly paying significantly more per week. That affects their take home. That affects retention. One thing that worked for my agency, and I'd like to encourage you to look at it, is reimbursing mileage at the current U.S. rate, IRS rate. Not a flat rate, not one you set 2 years ago, not one you set before gas went up 20%. When gas goes up 20% in 2 weeks, your caregivers feel that. If you're not acknowledging it, you know what's going to happen? You're going to lose people. Impact number 2, your client families are feeling squeezed. Economists at Moody's have warned that March 2026 could see the highest monthly inflation spike in 4 years. When families are paying more at the pump, more for groceries, more for electricity, the first things that get reconsidered are discretionary expenses. And for some families, home care is in that category. Now, this is especially true for families who are borderline private pay, the ones who are stretching to afford care. This is not a reason to panic. It is, however, a reason to be having a practical, a proactive communication with your clients' families right now. Check in, know their situation. Don't let a cancellation surprise you when you could have had the conversation 2 weeks earlier. And impact number 3, supply chain ripple effects are coming. Now, this one is going to surprise some of you. This is going to surprise many of you. But the Strait of Hormuz doesn't just carry oil. It carries pharmaceutical ingredients, medical supply components, and chemical feedstocks for manufacturing. The industry analysts are already flagging that if the strait remains closed for weeks, not days, there will be supply disruptions in medical products. I'm not telling you to panic buy PPE, but it is worth having a conversation with your supply vendors now, before there are shortages. The agencies that planned ahead during COVID remember what it was like to scramble. But you don't have to scramble again. Learn from the past. Now, here's your move. Communicate proactively. Don't wait. Right now, your client families are watching the news. They're anxious. They're wondering if things will get more expensive. The worst thing you can do is go silent. The best thing you can do is reach out. You can reach out by phone, by email, by text, and let them know you're watching the situation, that your commitment to their care has not changed, and that if they have concerns, you want to hear them. That one proactive call and message builds more trust than 3 months of good service. Lead with communication. Always lead with communication. Now, force number 2, AI and technology. The window is open, but it won't stay open forever. Let me get one sip before we go forward. Now let's talk about AI. Because in the middle of all this chaos, there's a genuine competitive opportunity. But most agency owners are either ignoring it or chasing the wrong thing. Now, what AI is actually doing in home care right now? The 2026 Axis Care Industry Survey found that 64% of home care leaders say AI will have its greatest impact on scheduling and caregiver client matching. The 2026 Axis report found that 60% believe AI will transform the industry by 2030, but fewer than 1 in 4 agencies have actually invested in AI tools yet. The gap between what leaders believe and what they're actually doing is your competitive window. Right now, agencies that start learning and deploying these tools in the next 6 months will have a meaningful operational advantage over the ones that wait until it becomes industry standard. But here's what AI will not do. AI will not replace your caregivers. Let me say that again clearly. AI will not replace your caregiver because there's a lot of fear in the workforce right now about this. The human connection in home care is irreplaceable. What AI replaces is the buried in paperwork version of you and your coordinators. Automated documentation, smarter scheduling, intake follow-up. These tools exist right now, and they're being used by agencies that are running leaner, responding faster, and retaining better. That's the real AI story for home care in 2026. Here's something I want to address directly because it's relevant to today's conversation. The war in Iran is being waged partly through information. Trump himself posted this week that Iran is using AI as a disinformation weapon to spread false narratives about the war. Now, I'm not here to take sides on politics, but I want you to be aware of something practical. Your clients, their families are consuming news about this conflict. Some of it is accurate, some of it is not. AI-generated misinformation is flooding social media. And when a worried family member reads something alarming online and calls you at 7 p.m., you need to be the one who's calm. You need to be a trustworthy, informed voice for them, not someone scrambling to catch up. Being the expert in your market is a competitive advantage that AI cannot replicate. By staying informed and communicating clearly, that's your job. The three AI moves for home care agency owners right now. There are three. Move one, start with scheduling. If your team is doing manual scheduling, building grids by hand, chasing availability by text, you have the most to gain from AI-assisted scheduling tools. The efficiency gains are real, and the tools are accessible at every budget level. Move two, automate documentation follow-up. Post-visit documentation, care plan updates, EVV compliance, these are areas where AI drafting tools are already saving coordinators significant time per week. Less admin burden means less burnout, which means better retention. Move three, use AI to amplify your marketing, not replace your voice. The agencies building trust and growing private pay right now are the ones showing up consistently with helpful, credible content. AI can help you create that content faster, but it has to sound like you. Use it as a tool, not a ghost. Force number three, Medicaid, immigration, and the political landscape. Now, let's talk about what has actually changed. Now, let me bring you up to speed on the broader political picture, specifically the pieces that directly affect your agency. Let's talk Medicaid. The math hasn't changed. The one big, beautiful bill signed January 4th, 2025, cut $1 trillion from Medicaid over the next decade. The CBO's confirmed estimate, that's the CBO's confirmed estimate. Work requirements begin January 2027. More frequent eligibility redeterminations are common. This means the number of Medicaid-funded clients who can access home care services is going to shrink. It is not going to reverse. And the war is adding budget pressure at the federal level that makes any restoration of those cuts increasingly unlikely in the near term. Now, the private pay pipeline is more important than ever. If your agency is still primarily Medicaid dependent, this is the most important sentence in today's broadcast. You need to be building your private pay pipeline right now. Not next quarter, not when things settle down, but right now. Medicaid funded demand is contracting. Private pay demand is growing because the families who were relying on Medicaid are being pushed toward private pay. And because the overall population of seniors needing care continues to rise. The agencies that made this pivot in 2025 are already seeing the results. The agencies still waiting are watching their referral pipeline grow thin. immigration in your caregiver workforce. Let's talk about that. More than 40% of home health aides in the United States are foreign born. According to US government data, immigration enforcement is directly reducing the size of the available caregiver labor pool in many markets. Now, here's what the war adds to this. Caregiver workers who come from Middle Eastern or Muslim majority countries are living with additional fear and uncertainty right now today. That fear affects attendance, mental health, and retention. If you have caregivers on your team navigating this, and many of you do, the most important thing you can do is create a culture where they feel safe and valued. That's not a political statement. That's a retention strategy. Losing a trained caregiver in this labor market costs far more than the time and care it takes to check in on them. Now, the bottom line on the political landscape, the rules are shifting. Funding is tightening. The workforce is under pressure from multiple directions. The agencies that survive this are not the ones waiting for Washington to fix it. They are the ones building business models that don't depend on Washington staying consistent, because they never do. Private pay, specialized services, premium positioning, strong referral networks that send clients who value care, not just clients who need cheap care. That is the path forward. These three moves should feel like something that is executable. And before I give you the call to action, let me give you three specific moves you can make this week starting today. Move number one is communicate with your client families today. Call or message your top 5 to 10 families this week. I'm not talking about a form letter. I'm talking about a personal outreach. Let them know you're watching the economic environment, that you're committed to their care, that if they have concerns, you want to hear them. That single act of proactive communication will do more for your retention than any program you can launch. Move two, audit your private pay ratios this week. Pull up your current client list. What percentage of your revenue is Medicaid funded versus private pay? If that number is more than 60% Medicaid, you need a plan. Not eventually, but now. Start one private pay marketing activity this week, one referral partner visit, one piece of content, one direct outreach. The pipeline starts with one move. And move three, identify one AI tool to evaluate this month. Just one. Scheduling, documentation, or intake. Research one tool, watch one demo, and talk to one agency owner who is using it. You don't have to deploy anything today, but you need to start learning, because agencies that are 6 months ahead on this technology will still be 6 months ahead in 2 years. So start the clock. I'm giving you a lot to think about here. I know. But this is important. Now, here's my ask of you today. If what I shared today is useful, if it gave you a clearer picture of what's happening and what to do about it, don't just sit with it alone. Come join us. I run a free Facebook community called the Home Care 7-Figure Blueprint Community. It's a group of home care agencies who are navigating this environment together, sharing what's working, asking the hard questions, holding each other accountable. Now, the link is going to be down in the comments from this video. I want you to go join it. Introduce yourself. Tell a group what your number one challenge is right now. And I promise you, you will hear from someone who has been through it. And a real bonus, every single Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, I go live in that community. I'm there live every night at 7 p.m., but I go live every Saturday at 1 p.m. without fail. We do a Q&A session, a live Q&A session. So you get to bring your real questions, bring your real challenges, and we work through them together live. No scripts, no fluff, real talk for real agency owners. I'll be there this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want you to be there too. So I'm giving you 2 actions to complete right now. 1, search the Home Care 7-Figure Blueprint community on Facebook or use the link down in the comments. 2, join our Saturday 1 p.m. live session, Eastern Standard Time, and bring your questions about the war, about AI, Medicaid, private pay, or anything else. I'll be there. I want you to drop Blueprint in the comments, and I'll send you the group link personally. This is one of the most challenging seasons this industry has ever seen. And it's also one of the biggest opportunities for the agencies who are paying attention, moving with intention, and building something that lasts. You're one of those owners, I can tell by the fact that you're here. So go make your 3 moves this week, and I'll see you Saturday at 1. Take care of yourselves and take great care of your clients. Bye for now.